Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. We just talked about that Bill Belichick news that came out yesterday. He is the new head coach at UNC, and there's a lot of questions. Anthony has one about how Nick Saban got a little bit tired of the new way of college football. I would say Bill Belichick probably would as well. Question is, how much involved will he be in those moments? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But let's get into one of the games that I love the most as we get into this kind of end of the year. We get one more regular season game after the postseason has already started. So it's going to be a little bit weird, but let's get into this Army-Navy game because this is going to be absolutely awesome. It's one of those games. Oh, excuse me. Apologies for that. It's one of those games that has kind of been forgotten a little bit. Anthony's talking about it right here. It's just one of those games that has kind of been buried by all the scheduling and all the different things that have been going on. We have a couple of bowl games that we'll talk about actually at the end of this that are going on Saturday. Don't necessarily love that if I'm being totally honest, but at the end of the day, you're in a position where the Army-Navy game doesn't feel quite as special as it usually does, as it had in the past, but it's still an incredible game. It's still a game that everyone should watch this Saturday, and it's definitely one that has two really good teams in it this time around, especially Army, but Navy does lead the all-time series record 62, 55, and 7. Army has actually won the last 10, 6, and 4, and they've won 2 straight. So Navy trying to get back on track, but Army, you're trying to finish off one of the best seasons you've had in a very long time. Go 12-1, win an American championship, win the Commanders-in-Chief trophy would be remarkable to watch happen. And the Navy just wants to spoil all that fun. That's the fun of this, and it is in the nation's capital, which adds a little bit of fun to this. But at the end of the day, I don't have to tell you this, but it's going to be decided on the ground. That's the way these two teams play. That's the way they've played for just about as long as I can possibly remember. But both teams sit in top 5 in the country in rush yards per game. Army does gain about 50 more rush yards per game. So that's the gap between number 1 and number 5. Pretty good gap. Army has really kind of set the pace when it comes to the run game, but the problem for Navy is their run defense has struggled quite a bit this season, while Army sits at number 7 in the country, only giving up less than 100 yards per game. Can Navy find those openings? And then on the defensive side, can they keep their feet under them? Can they make the tackle when they need to against some very athletic, very tough players for Army in the run game? And then both pass games are in the bottom 5 in the country. You will likely not see a lot of it. For that reason, I think it could be the difference here. When you talk about a game that is going to be so ground and pound, is going to be probably about 70-80% run plays, if we're being totally honest, that one big pass play can totally change the way this thing looks. And if you're going to find that, you're likely going to see Eli Heidenreich on Navy, 597 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, or on the Army side, Casey Reynolds and Noah Short. They combine for 739 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. Both very talented guys, and Army definitely has more weapons on the outside. Eli Heidenreich is an absolute problem. He's a guy that can totally change this game in a second, and definitely is very talented running the ball. Absolutely can be a threat catching the ball as well. And one of the big kind of sub storylines as we head into this thing is Jeff Monken. There is a little bit of question about what the future is for him. He is definitely a guy that is out there for a lot of the big time jobs out there. A lot of them have been taken, including yesterday. We had the West Virginia job go off the market. We had the UNC job go off the market. So maybe he's not quite looking around the way that he was even a week ago or even a couple of days ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of factors into this thing. He wants to ride off into the sunset with one more win over Navy. They are absolutely favored to do that. It'll be interesting to see what happens after that if Jeff Monken does stay around. My gut feeling right now is unless chaos happens and Ryan Day gets fired and all of the dominoes start to fall, tend to believe that he will be in West Point next year. If I had to imagine, it'll be interesting to watch that unfold. But overall, this will be a quarterback duel. It just won't be the one that you're used to. It won't be a guy throwing the ball all over the yard, but Bryson Daly nearing 1,500 yards rushing this year. Blake Horvath right under the 900-yard mark. Blake Horvath a little bit better of a passer. A little bit better of a passer than what Bryson Daly is. He's just a little bit more experienced in that respect, but both these guys are going to make big-time plays. Both these guys have the ability to break away for 70, 80-yard touchdowns. Now, the question is the supporting cast. I think there's a number of different things that go into this where Navy, you have 5 guys that are over 200 yards rushing. You have 3 that are over 400 yards. For Army, it's a lot of Kanye Udo. It's a lot of Noah Short. It's a lot of Bryson Daly. So could Navy win them just by having diversification, having different guys on the field, having fresh legs, making life really, really tough. So it's going to be really interesting to watch this all unfold. And I hadn't even thought of that, Anthony. That would be a fascinating thing to happen if he found his way down to Coral Gables. And Shannon Dawson, I had him in my finalist for the Broyles Award. He absolutely is a guy that if I was an NFL GM or NFL coach right now, I'd be looking in that direction. Remarkable offense that he runs in. Maybe, just maybe, he'll have a little bit of an opening to reunite with Cam Ward up there. That'll be fascinating to watch unfold. But a lot of different things going into this game, and more than anything, when we talk about this game, we can talk about the football every which way from Tuesday. It's so much fun to talk about these two teams and the way they run their offense and the different intricacies and the ways these offenses are different from one another and all of that different stuff. The reality is this is a special game because of what happens off the field. This is a special game because when they step on that field, those two teams hate each other then just about as much as every single other team in the country, every single other rivalry, maybe even more than every single other rivalry in college football. Right when they walk off the field, they are brothers again. Right when they walk off the field, they are going off and they have to join arm in arm, and it's always a really, really cool thing to watch. On and off the field, these guys are incredible people, and they have a little bit different of feeling for each other on and off the field. So it's always an awesome thing to watch. One small thing to keep your eye on from the football perspective is Navy's 126 when it comes to football field goal conversion. Army is all the way up at 18. So Navy, they've gone through a couple of different kickers throughout the year, but Nathan Kirkwood, the one that is working right now, he's 4 for 7 on the year. Trey Groton, the guy for Granate, the guy for Army, is 8 for 9 on the year. So that's a pretty stark gap. Could make the difference if we have a very close game down the stretch. But this is a special game. It's one that I always love watching. It's one that is always special to watch unfold. But let's talk about some players that are going to have a big impact on this one. And we've talked about this guy already. Eli Heidenreich is a dude. He absolutely has every ability to make some changes in this thing, and he is a game changer when it comes to the pass game, where we talked about it. It's not going to be a huge part of this game. It absolutely is going to be a factor in this game. I can promise you that. And then you do have Landon Robinson in the middle of that defense for Navy. You got to stop the vertical run. Interior run game is a huge part of what the triple option does, because if you can't get that going, a lot of guys can key on those pitch plays. A lot of guys can key on those triple option plays where you get out to the outside. Makes it a whole lot easier for those linebackers to rally when that interior run game is fully taken care of. Kanye Udo, the running back for Army, kind of the fullback type position for this team, he's one of the best running backs in the country. I know he's up for the Lowman Award over there, pardon my take. He would get my vote as far as I'm concerned. Remarkable player. Definitely one of those guys that I expect to see at the NFL level, and I could see him very well succeeding at that level. And then Andon Thomas, the leader of this defense, the guy that is the leading tackler. It's his game. When you come down to this type of game, when you are a junior or a senior on this team, it means the world to these players. They all want everything to win this game and to send Navy off with a little bit of upset in their stomach. No doubt about that. Andon Thomas would be at the very top of that list. So it's going to be awesome to watch him play, and these linebackers are going to be hugely important as we get into this thing. Some keys to the game. The run game discipline is going to be massive. Both teams love to steal your eyes, and while both teams are very equipped to deal with the offense that's going to be dealt to them, the similarities are definitely there, but new things will be thrown at them. There's no doubt about that. Both these head coaches are coming into this thing thinking, we got to throw something new at this team because they've seen a lot of the stuff that we already have. So we got to be careful there. The interior run game is going to be a huge part of this. We talked about it. If you're not going to be able to get the interior run game going, the triple option is just not going to work. That's always the prerequisite to all of that different type of stuff. So Alec Tezka, Kanye Udo, whoever wins that battle, whoever is the leading rusher between those two, I would bet is on the winning roster. And then that rivalry energy. It's extra special every single time, but especially with the year that Army's having, it's going to be a little bit more energetic. Navy's going to want to spoil the fun just a little bit more. It's going to be an incredible game. Cannot wait for this one to unfold. And I know that line is very close. I love Army here. I think they have more talent on their team. I think they're a more crisp run offense. I think their defense is a little bit more nasty. I just think they have the upper hand in a lot of different respects here. So I'll go with Army to win this one. And I wanted to get to a couple of the comments that Anthony had here because we were talking about this. Yeah, it feels like there is a lot of different guys that it doesn't feel like the Army-Navy game quite gets the love that it deserves anymore. I would absolutely give you that. And I think when you talk about a lot of the different players that come into Army Navy at this point, it's a lot of different questions around all of the different things. There's a lot of different questions around the way that people go about business and the way that we kind of treat this game in some respects, and the way that this game is kind of viewed by recruits, by a lot of different people, and just the changing nature of college football has created a world around this game that is not quite what this game is about. And you don't necessarily love it. There's a lot of different things to worry about with the transfer portal and everything. I would love for this Saturday to just be this game, to let this game stand alone, let it be kind of a glimpse into the past of what college football was and what makes college football great. I would love for that to be the thing. We'll see if that starts to unfold over the next couple of years. But Anthony, you are right. It does feel like this game has been just a little bit overshadowed for some of the things that have been happening around the sport, some of the things that have been happening just in the world, a lot of different things that have kind of contributed to that. And also, talking about Jeff Monken, he does run the triple option, no doubt about that. He can run other stuff. He's running the triple option more out of the personnel that he has than anything else. He absolutely is someone that can do something special. He absolutely is someone that can adapt to a place like Miami or a place like some other places out there. He can do that. I can almost promise you that. That will not be an issue for this guy. And the running back, I just think he's so good. He's one of those guys that he's playing in a triple option offense. I don't care what offense you put him in. I think he can run over people. I think he has the contact balance you absolutely need in the NFL. And I think he has that breakaway speed that not a lot of guys in those triple option offenses have. So I don't know if he's first or second round because of the offense that he's in. It will take some time for him to get up to speed at the NFL level. Wherever he goes, he is going to be someone I'm going to be keeping my eye very, very closely on, because I think that's a very special player that can make some big-time waves in the next couple of days. But it's going to be awesome to watch this unfold. It's one of my favorite games of the year, and we'll hold off on breaking down those bowl games. So we got a couple of bowl games that are coming up this weekend. I'll get to those tomorrow. Went a little bit too long on this segment talking about Army-Navy. Just absolutely love this game. It's one of the special game, probably the most special game of the college football year as far as I'm concerned. Take out the national championship and all these conference championships, all of the stuff that has real stakes in terms of the postseason. This has nothing to do with that. It's just two teams that do not like each other one bit, getting on the field and attacking each other for 4 hours, and then after it, they go and attack other people as a unit. It's really, really an incredible thing to watch. Always when they get together at the middle of the field and join arms at the end of the game, it's special. There's no other way to put it. It is college football in its purest form, and it's going to be incredible to watch. I wish it was alone, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be an awesome thing to watch, and we'll definitely be in for a really, really good one. But let's take our second break here. When we come back, we got to talk about the transfer portal. We have some commitments. We have some people jumping off the board, and we got to talk about all of it right after this, so stick with us.